you nervous today?
Listen, obviously, I think I'm more nervous than he is. I mean, it's a big thing. He hasn't been doing this for 50 years like other people. I mean, it's new, and I think he did a great job.
That was one of the things that he brought up tonight. You know, she's been at this for 30 years. That's a long period of time. And one of the things he said is, you didn't get the job done, things are worse than ever.
And what's going to change? You know, it's always, you get sold this bill of goods, and guess what happens? There's no action. You know, he's going to bring a different perspective to that. He's going to have someone who's actually created jobs, try to create jobs for this country,
but, you know,
not just talk about it.
But he also said that about the black community. Every 4 years, they go into the black community, the Democratic Party, give us your votes, but the schools are still awful.
Yep.
Since Obama's been president, 58% increased black Americans that are on food stamps, 20% increased black Americans out of the labor force. That's a big number.
And it's terrible. I mean, when you look at, you know, Democratic rule in these cities, Milwaukee, I think it's, 107 years of Democratic rule. You look at Detroit, 57. Look at what's happened in those amount of time. I mean, nothing good has happened. I think it's time for a change. I think it's time to bring some real job creation policies, because if you do that, guess what happens? Everyone wins.
Weren't you surprised as I was that she actually said, I'm going to raise taxes. We're going to redistribute wealth. And I'm like, didn't we just do this for 8 years?
Well, and that's always the solution. But if you look further into her tax plan, it also affects the middle class. It's not just the rich. She tries to make it seem like it's just her billionaire donors that are going to be affected by this, but it's ultimately the middle class that's going to pay for this, and then they're going to spend it frivolously. And that's the biggest thing I think my father brought up. It's not just about revenue, right? Business isn't just about the amount of money you bring in. It's also what you spend. To actually negotiate some of these deals, to actually not just say, here's the price, Don. Oh, okay, that's great. We should just accept that.
No.
That's not what we should do. We should be negotiating these prices. We should be making sure that we're getting the best bang for the buck from the American taxpayers. And that's what he's going to do.
He did point out something I mentioned a lot on my show, the first president to accumulate more debt than every other president before him combined.
And by the way, there's a point of no return, Sean. This is like, if we ran our homes like we run this government, we'd be living on the streets.
No, we'd be sent to jail by now.
Correct. We'd be in jail. I mean, it just doesn't work. These policies of guys that haven't done it before just doesn't work. It's time for a change.
How about, what do you think about when she takes the cheap shots, when she takes the attacks? Towards the end of the debate, the sexist attack. Yeah. She tried to say your dad was racist in a way, and then he came back, well, you're the one that called people super predators. Well, and by the way, stop and frisk did work in New York.
Of course it did. I mean, I'm sitting right next to Mayor Giuliani. I mean, stop and frisk 100% work. I mean, these are policies. He's not saying that should be everywhere, but in places where you have 4,000 people almost killed in the last 8 years, maybe we have to do something about it. Yeah. Maybe we actually have to stop that vicious cycle and do something about it. So, you know, these are things. And by the way, you know, I was actually pretty amazed. He didn't take the cheap shot. When she accused him of all of these things, he didn't take the cheap shot about Bill Clinton and the dozens of people that have come out accusing him of all sorts of stuff. Yeah. You know what? It was almost too easy, and I was actually really happy that, you know, I perhaps would have done it myself, but he was very restrained about it. He didn't want to do it, certainly not in front of his family. You know, but you can't have it both ways, and that's what the politicians always try to have.
Yeah. Proud of your dad tonight?
I am. It's amazing to watch.
You only got 2 more to sit through, so, you know.
Exactly.
It's hard. All right, Don Jr., good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping by. Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. All right, joining us now live with